Hi everyone, in today's video we're going to focus on the Object Toolbar in Interior Design Pro. We're going to keep this simple and focused so you can understand exactly how to use the toolbar without getting overwhelmed. We'll build onto the C360 platform from the last video and use a single object to walk through each tool. So let's open up that C360 platform. I'm going to jump right into 3D mode, and it was right where we left off. So we're going to tap on that sofa to bring up the toolbar. We're going to tap on the move icon, and we're going to move that sofa to the back corner, making room for other products. I'm going to tap on the ottoman and move that one to the back corner also. Now, if you forgot that that was the move icon, if you press and hold, it'll tell you move. If you press and hold on any of these, it'll tell you exactly what they do. So the resize icon is grayed out. That's because you can't resize calico furniture because they don't want you to change the size of something to show the customer something they can't have. But you can resize, say, calico drapery treatments. So let's go ahead and add a drapery panel, and we're going to go into calico products. We're going to tap on drapery components. So let's pull in the 1.5 width 84-inch pinch pleat and pull that right there. Now you can resize it. Now with the drapery treatment, I'm going to only recommend you resize it a few inches so it doesn't skew it too much. That's why there's plenty of different widths and lengths to choose from, so you only have to change it slightly where you need to give it a little bit more height or you need to give it a little bit more width. If you change the scale using this blue handler, it changes everything to proportion. So this drapery treatment is probably a 3.5 with return to the wall, so that's going to increase as I increase everything all at once. I can hit the undo and take it right back to where it was. All right, so I'm going to tap on that drapery panel again, and the next button is the rotate button. So when I tap on rotate, I can rotate that drapery so you can see there is the return edge of that drapery, and then here is the lead edge of that drapery. Okay. So the next one is drop to the floor. So if this drapery, for some reason, I moved it up in the air, so it was up really high. I'm using 2 fingers again to move that drapery up high. You can tap that down arrow and watch the drapery fall right to the floor where it needs to be. Okay. I'm going to tap out off that drapery so I can move the platform over to where I want it. Tap back on the drapery again, and you have the lock button. Let's suppose you had the drapery set right where you wanted it. You could tap that lock button, and now that drapery is going to pulse red, and you'll notice that the move button, the resize, and the rotate button are now locked out because you won't be able to move that drapery until you unlock it. That's so you don't move it by accident. So you will want to lock things when you start to do really small details like light switches or things like that. You don't want to move something by accident. You're going to lock them where they are. So you can unlock it. What if I wanted to duplicate that drapery? This is important after you've dressed the drapery. Suppose I change those rings to a brass and I put a fabric on there. Now I want the right facing panel. So you can hit the duplicate button, and there's the other panel. I'm going to drag it over, return edge and a lead edge on this side. What you can do is go into the info button, and then you can mirror it. And now the lead edge and the lead edge are matching, and the return edges are on either side. So that was the duplicate button. Then you have your group button. When you tap on the group button, you will be able to group multiple objects together. So I tapped on the group button and it defaulted to the group plus. I'm going to tap on that other drapery panel and I'm going to hit the check mark, and I'm going to call this my 3 width pair because there were 2 1.5 widths. So 3 width pair, hit save, and it saved that pair of draperies to my grouped object shelf. So now when you go to move those draperies, they move together. If you go to rotate them, they will rotate together. So you're going to want to, especially when you get your rods on the wall and your center brackets, you're going to want to group those all together. And then whenever you want a 2 width drapery panel, you can go over to your grouped object shelf and drag them right back into your plan, any plan, not just the one that you're on. Okay, so here we went over the grouped objects. Now this is your preview button, the eyeball. So you tap it here, long press, it says preview. You tap that, you can actually preview any grouped object or any single object that you have in your plan, just like you could off of the model shelf. The next button we already went to once is the additional info button. This is where you can modify your object. You can make it a mirrored object like we just did with the drapery panel. You can turn off and on the snap to objects, and you can even turn on multi-axis rotation, which we will cover in another video. That is the option that you would use, say, for a pillow. The next button on the toolbar is the shopping cart icon, and that you will only see that shopping cart icon if there is a link associated with the object that you tapped that will take you to a website where you can shop for that product. Next to the shopping cart icon is your delete icon. If you tap the trash can, it will delete that object. You can hit your back button if you delete it by accident. And then to the very far right, remember that's the little handle, that little black handle where you can move your toolbar around. So that covers everything you need to know about the Object Toolbar. Take a moment to practice and try each tool for yourself. In the next video, we'll open a sample plan and walk you through the full workspace so you can see how everything comes together. Thanks for watching.